What's up guys, and welcome back to Wall Street Millennial. On this channel, we cover everything related to stocks and investing. I'm sure you all remember the Gamestop and AMC short squeezes from earlier, where individual investors made billions of dollars at the expense of hedge funds. In the case of GameStop, so many hedge funds were short that many shares were shorted multiple times. This led to a situation where more than 100% of the outstanding shares were shorted, leaving them massively vulnerable to a short squeeze. But honest investors weren't the only ones who made money from the short squeeze saga. The SEC recently uncovered unscrupulous actors who took advantage of the unprecedented market volatility in meme stock options to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. They did this by employing a sophisticated and highly technical scheme. They took advantage of arcane rebate structures offered by options exchanges to book massive profits from fake trades in meme stock options at the height of the February volatility. Their actions had the effect of manipulating the markets and exacerbating the volatility. In this video, we'll go over how this manipulation happened, how the masterminds profited from it, and how they were finally caught. To understand this scheme, we first have to understand the technical aspects of how options are traded. When the hype around GameStop started in early 2021, volumes of GameStop options exploded. Options are far less liquid than stocks, making it much more difficult to get good execution. At the time of recording this video, GameStop trades for $189.48 per share. If you put an order to buy one share, the amount you'll be charged will be pretty close to the quoted price. But this is not the case for options. For example, take a look at this GameStop option. The price is quoted at being 54 cents, but it's unlikely you'd actually be able to buy or sell for this price. If you wanted to buy it immediately, you'd have to pay 65 cents, which is the ask price. If you wanted to sell immediately, you'd only receive 42 cents, which is the bid price. The spreads are typically very high for out-of-the-money options. The options exchanges such as SIBO make revenue via transaction fees. The more trading that occurs, the more money they can make. Thus, they want to make their options markets as liquid as possible to help facilitate frequent trading. That is, if you put a limit order in, they want it to be filled as quickly as possible. They're especially keen to increase the liquidity of high-volume options that are getting a lot of interest from investors. To this end, many exchanges operate so-called maker-taker schemes, which incentivize market participants to add liquidity to the markets. This example shows how a maker-taker scheme works. Let's say there's an option where the best bid is $1. This is the highest price that someone is willing to buy it for right now. The best ask price is $1.10, which is the lowest price someone is willing to sell at. As you can see, there is a 10-cent spread. The exchange wants to reduce the spread as much as possible. Let's say you put in an order to sell the option for $1.05. This will not immediately get executed because it is above the highest bid of $1. It is also below the lowest ask of $1.10. Thus, your $1.05 sell order would become the new lowest asking price, which will decrease the spread from 10 cents to 5 cents. The exchange will compensate you for reducing the spread by paying you a rebate of a few cents. Now let's say you want your sell order to execute immediately, so you set your limit sell price at $1. This is equal to the highest bid price, so your trade will be executed. Because you took out the highest bid, the spread is now increased from 10 cents to 15 cents. Because you widen the spread, the exchange will charge you a fee of a few cents. It's not terribly important that you understand the technicalities of how this works. Just remember that some options transactions earn a rebate while others incur a fee. And these fees become greater for out-of-the-money options with large spreads and when trading volume is high, as was the case with the meme stocks. In February of 2021, a Florida resident by the name of Soo-Yun Gu took notice of the extreme volatility in various meme stocks such as GameStop and AMC. He realized that this volatility would increase the rebates that he could potentially earn by trading their options. Some of the biggest rebates available were for deep out-of-the-money options with wide spreads. But there were two problems he had to overcome. Firstly, these deep out-of-the-money options had very little volume, so he couldn't make that many trades on them. And secondly, buying options on meme stocks is very risky. If the stock moves unfavorably for his position, he could incur losses far in excess of the few pennies he would receive in rebates for each trade. He thought of a brilliant idea that could solve both of these problems and allow him to make hundreds of thousands of dollars with almost no risk. He contacted his associate Yong Lee to help him implement the scheme. He would choose deep out-of-the-money put options that were thinly traded. Then, he would place orders that decrease the spread of the position and thus collect a rebate. Remember that this is called a maker trade. His associate, Young Lee, would act as his counterparty and take the other side of the trade. Lee's trades constituted taker trades as he was widening the spread by filling Gu's orders. Since they're only trading between each other, they do not hold any net position in the stock, and thus are not impacted by the movements in the share price. The taker trades incurred fees from the exchange that would be equal to or exceed the rebates that the maker trades make. At first glance, this might seem odd. If the fees from Lee's taker trades offset the rebates from Gu's maker trades, how can they make a profit? This is where the other part of their plan came in. Some brokerages such as Interactive Brokers pass along the rebates from the exchange to the customer. We don't know which brokerages they were using. Interactive Brokers is just an example. Other brokerages don't pass on exchange rebates or fees onto the end customer. They just collect the rebates and pay the fees themselves. Under normal circumstances, the rebates and fees would roughly cancel out, so the brokerage doesn't gain or lose anything by keeping them. These two coordinated their trading such that the one making the maker trades was using a brokerage that passes on the rebates to the customer. The one making the opposing taker trades would use a brokerage that internalizes the fees. Effectively, they could have their cake and eat it by collecting the rebates but not paying the fees. The only problem with this strategy is that it's completely illegal. They're effectively robbing the brokerage by saddling them with fee-generating taker trades. After successfully running this scheme for a while, the brokerages they were using started to get suspicious of their unusual trading activity and terminated their accounts. But they were making way too much money for this to stop them. They opened new accounts by using fake names and VPNs to conceal their identities. According to the SEC, Gu made a grand total of more than 11,400 trades, which netted him a profit of more than $600,000. Lee made 2,300 trades, netting him more than $50,000 in ill-gotten gains. And it wasn't just the brokerages that they victimized. Their scheme resulted in certain out-of-the-money put options appearing much more heavily traded than they actually were. This appearance of liquidity may have baited other investors to trade these same options when they otherwise would be unlikely to do so. The SEC has charged both individuals with securities violations. Lee agreed to disgorge his $50,000 in profits and pay a civil penalty of $25,000. It does not appear that any criminal charges have been filed against either of them at this point. This story should serve as a cautionary tale to anyone who trades options. As compared to the more tame world of regular share trading, options are like the Wild West. The low liquidity makes them prime targets for market manipulation and other schemes which can rob your money without you even knowing. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about this market rigging scheme? Do you think this or any other manipulations contributed in any way to the Gamestop short squeezes that we saw at the beginning of this year? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. As always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.